Okay, so in this video, we're going to relate an experience. I don't know how I remembered this situation. This was quite a while ago.
It was the Holy Spirit.
It might have been Reddit or something that maybe triggered my mind. We were talking about some past things. But anyway, while we were, I guess this is kind of like 2003 era. I have actually an article that I'm going to read
Which is
from.
when we were married.
2003, we were married, and that's when this article was put out, and I'm going to read some parts of it. But in 2001, I was in Missoula, Montana area, and I was studying with a sister there, and she had another sister sit in the study a few times, and it's the second sister's husband that I'm talking about in this article. So I would be studying. We studied out of the knowledge book at that time, and she was most sisters are really kind and nice to you, and I remember going over to her house a few times, and it was a really nice place. And they had a couple of, did they have two boys? I know they had one son that was a few years older than me. Always drove really nice cars, and they just seemed like really spiritual people, had their life together.
Because he was an elder.
And this guy was an elder. Yeah, her husband was an elder. And then, like, I'd moved away again.
And there were other people in the congregation that worked for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can get into that in a minute. So I had moved away, so I didn't really get the story as it was progressing until I came back to Montana, because I had moved away to Idaho, moved back to Montana.
Because we were dating, they shipped her off back to Montana.
Well,
I shouldn't say dating. Because we got engaged, they shipped her off to Montana.
Yeah, that's a totally different situation. Anyway.
Well, it's the same situation, but these two stories overlap. So here she is in the middle of what's going on a little bit. Then she moves in with her aunt and uncle for whatever reason. We get engaged. They ship her back to Missoula.
They send me back to Missoula, Montana. So the sister that originally studied with me, her friend, also studied with me, like sat in, and like I said, it was her husband that got into this trouble. And they also had others in the congregation working with him, doing what I was told, like some sort of an insurance something. I don't really remember.
It would be business, whatever it is, bookworking, that type of thing,
things, yeah.
And I remember some of this that she would relate, because like I went over there, I think a couple times just to visit her, because it was a good 2 hours, and they really didn't want us talking anyways. Matter of fact, every time I showed up at their congregation, we'd get pulled into the back room.
Every time. Can we talk to you? Can we talk to you? And I wasn't baptized at that time. Okay, let's not get into our story.
But she would relate to me a little bit what she saw was going on, but I wasn't too concerned about it anyway. I'm just there to see my chick.
Yeah. Okay. Should I read the article?
Yeah, you can read the article. So, but it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal that not much gets said about. But
when you're in the congregation, you don't. And from my perspective, being just a young girl, really didn't care much about it. I wasn't involved. I wasn't there very long. I just came to the meetings. I was in high school. I mean, there was just no connection.
Especially since she was there, then she got moved out, and then was back there again,
So I always wondered, I wonder what happened, or what that really was about, or, I'm just remembering, it was just insurance. Well, I happened to look it up on the internet.
Because in the congregation, everything is, hush hush. You put it on the down low.
But I knew that
for Jehovah's name.
I knew that the elder had gone to prison. Well, people go to prison for all kinds of reasons, but I didn't know to what extent. So here's the article. This is in the...
And there were people that lost their pioneering privileges and all sorts of things like that went on.
Yeah. So this is... I'll try to link it in the description. But I'm just going to read some of the article. But it says, Two Jehovah's Witness church elders who fleeced a 100-year-old Deer Lodge woman out of her life savings and family ranch were sentenced Monday to 25 years in prison with 10 suspended. Should I say their names? You can read them for yourself, I guess. But the district
judge... It's public information, but just to be safe, we'll just skip over that part.
I'll just say the district judge sentenced these two men in what prosecutors called the biggest theft case in Montana history.
You can trust the elders.
Wow. The men who pleaded guilty to conspiracy, theft, and securities fraud were ordered to pay $6.5 million in restitution.
Yeah, right.
The thefts included taking a nearly $400,000 brokerage fee for allegedly and secretly selling this woman's 5.3 million Powell County ranch for $4 million. Mind you, this is 2003, so you can imagine
what that's worth today.
You know, inflation, what is this, like 17,
and this is
18
this
years
is pre-housing boom. So
is.
Montana property went through the roof after that. I think that same property would be worth well over 10 now.
I bet you it's worth way more than that, yeah. More than $2 million went to finance a failed effort to establish Montana's first foreign capital depository, which would offer a place for the super rich to stash their money similar to Swiss-style or offshore banks.
Keep in mind that elders are educated on legalism. A lot of legalism.
This woman is 100 years old, and she's being defrauded.
You can finish.
Okay, I think that's the district judge's name. The sentence represents a small measure of justice for I'll call her the victim, whose life savings and 6,400-acre family ranch were lost in a befriend and betray scheme that played out from 1995 to 2002. The men used a complex system of trusts and interlocking companies to steal Anderson's money while living in expensive homes, driving luxury cars, and traveling extensively, court records said.
Interlocking companies? I wonder where they learned that from.
I was going to say that too. And I remember that woman, and like I said, they had a son. They had a nice house. She always dressed like she was some sort of...
I don't know.
She always looked great. Like her clothes look... She did not look like a typical Montana girl like the rest of us, you know. And that would explain why, because they were taking all this money from what I knew.
Well, and not that witnesses can't have money too. I've known some witnesses that were fairly well off and worked hard though, and you knew it.
I guess. But I'm saying typically that's the case.
Yeah.
We're told not to have money. What are they doing with money?
Well, it's you don't have to not have money. You have to say that you don't supposed to have much money. We all know the game. They at least we didn't know that. I knew it now. I didn't know it then. But you have to say it. You can't. You can live the lifestyle as long as you say it's wrong.
Watchtower says, make all the money you can. Just give it all to me.
All right.
Let me see here. I'm going to skip a couple paragraphs. You can, like I said, read the article for yourself. But it says that basically the victim had a relative that came up. And I think there was another article I found, and I'll try to find that one too. She came up to visit her in Montana and noticed that she just didn't seem right.
She was losing her cognizant abilities. Just stress will make you go through that stuff. It seemed like Alzheimer's setting in, that type of thing.
Yeah, and the way that manipulation and persuasiveness can be with some people, it's like...
Well, it's not just that, because now the damage has occurred. They've basically taken her ranch out from under her and sold it and done these other things. So now it's like, and we went through that at a youthful age going, what in the heck is going on here? But again, these elders are trained in these manipulation tactics, and you're supposed to trust the elders. Well, this is kind of the thing that can happen when you trust the elders and then they backstab you. And we've had that happen. We've had this happen. So, and we can tell that story another time. This ain't about us. But, and not to this degree, obviously. But I can just imagine the mental anguish you're going through. These are supposed to be people I can trust that have used God as their support.
That's what the article says.
Go ahead and just read the article there.
And it just says that I'm not going to use their names, but it says basically the elders used the victim's trust with the church as leverage to convince her to trust them with her finances. And like I said, you can read the rest of the article, and I'll try to find the other one that gives a little more detail. But the point is, the trust, like that said, they're so manipulative, and like you said, they put God in the mix. Like, oh, that.
And you know what? Some elders may do this type of, what would you call it? People in the congregation may do this type of stewardship, and have all sorts of unrighteous means. But the narrative that they push, that you can trust the elders, is an unscriptural narrative. And it gets Watchtower in trouble. Watchtower is just as liable for this situation, if you ask me, as the elders are. Because they're the ones who push and, in fact, command you to trust the elders. Because if you undermine that trust in any way, that can be grounds for disfellowshipping. Because you don't trust the elders. You are undermining their authority and their congregational position to be trusted. Never mind that the scriptures say you're not supposed to trust a man. Again, you'll not, with 100 counts of trust, trusted, and trusting in the New World Translation, you will not find not one single scripture that says you should trust a man. Never. So that narrative makes them responsible for those who trust elders who may choose to commit the worst crime in Montana history in theft.
I thought it was interesting how at the beginning of this particular article calls it fleecing. And isn't that what the scriptures are talking about? You know, fleecing the flock, stealing all of that money from her and her family ranch, and that's all she had. Everything was gone.
And it's always through some sort of manipulation. That's what they're good at, is the manipulation and the spin. And again, we went through this too, and we should just tell that whole story.
How would they ever restitute? I mean, how would they ever pay that kind of money back?
You can't.
It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
I mean, I'm sure that they didn't, you can sell off their house and you can sell off their cars or make them return their cars. And, no doubt they had money in banks set aside and whatever else. So that would all go back to restitution. But we don't get to see how much was, like you said, already spent. Another article called it a Ponzi scheme. So a Ponzi scheme is, you got an investment, and usually it has to do with stocks and whatever else, right? It could be anything, though, but it could be real estate. But you accept money based on the idea that you're going to purchase whatever this is, and it can start out innocently as a real investment. And then it's like, oh, this investment is not getting the returns I need. Well, you got to remember, your income is based on the returns that you get. So let's say I buy a piece of real estate or a stock for $100 and it goes up to $1,000. I get a percentage of that increase. If I don't have an increase, then I don't have income. So I've got to have a good return on my money. So therefore, and since I'm not getting a return, I need more investors. And so that way, it doesn't look like I rip these other people off. I pay these individuals. That's what a Ponzi scheme is. And mind you that this is right around the Bernie Madoff with all their cash situation. So here it is. You accept those investments and use those investments to pay off the previous investors. So you're right. Some of that money is just naturally going to disappear. So if it was a quote unquote Ponzi scheme, because they had these companies that were set up, no doubt, to do, again, I don't know exactly what their business was.
Yeah. And like I said, I was not part of that congregation for very long because I think I was there for about 6 months and then we got married. Does that seem right? 4 months.
Yeah.
I was there for like 4 or 5 months and then we got married.
It wasn't very long because
No.
they shipped you off and it was only 3 months, I think, until you got booted out.
Maybe you're right.
Because that's what was so stupid. It's like, why are you guys being this way?
Yeah, it was
In
dumb.
3 months, she's going to be able to make her own decisions legally anyways. You really think you're actually doing any good? I mean, we talked about training wheels in one of the previous videos. Your training wheels need to come off at some point anyway. But you really think you're helping us?
Yeah. You know, and it's hard for me to recall all those instances because I was, like I said, there for just a short time learning and asking. Like, I'd go to the hall, like, where's so-and-so, or where's this person, or, you know, you just you see new people coming and going all the time in a congregation.
And you know when there's a certain tension in a congregation when the stuff's hitting the fan.
Sure.
And, you know, elders are getting removed and people are moving their pioneer privileges, and you can they like to hide it under the cover, but it's like one circuit overseer, talking about the situation we were going through, a circuit overseer came in and he says, you could cut the tension in this place with a knife, when that elder was draining our bank account, basically. But it's always through manipulation. It's never straight out just taking your money. It's through some sort of a trust. They use their position to get under your and get you to trust them.
We can talk about that in the next clip.
Yeah.
I just want to finish this one up real quick.
Yeah.
So I was only there for, like I said, a few months, and then we got married. And before that, it would have been like maybe a year and a half. And then, like I said, I was in Idaho for like a year and a half. And then before that, I was in Montana again, like during that time period. And that would have been the time period when his wife was studying with me and all those things, like I said, were happening. And that would have been the time period when he would have got in trouble and arrested, and all that would have happened. The sentence didn't happen till the same year we were married. So you know how courts, it takes some time.
So we were right in the middle of that. But again, we were so involved in our own lives and dealing with our own dramas inside of
that's right.
Going beyond the things written watchtower of elder oppression that we were more focused on our own pain.
And I've always wondered a little bit more, wanted to know about more details about that, but you know, you don't think about them till later. But now that I read this article, I wonder what happened to the guy's wife. I wonder what happened to the boy that they had, that I knew about the boy that they had. I wonder what happened to some of those people, you know, that were working with him, for him, whatever. I don't know what happened to them. Are they still in the congregation there? Did they move? Did they just get mad and leave? I have no idea what happened, and I would like to know, just out of curiosity. But I'll try to link those 2 articles or whatever I can find in the description box.
Well, if you link 2, they can find the rest and search it on the internet.
Yeah, you can. And then, like I said, then I'm not divulging names. You can look that up yourself. So, I guess that's it. Enjoy
the next segment of our restoration. So we've transitioned to inside. Yesterday the wind was blowing, so well, I painted the steps. I got the little splats on the side I gotta fix today. But we got the steps painted, and Tiffany has been working in here the last few days. This was a drab gray. Everything was prison gray. But we liked the gray as an accent, so we left this panel on the top, and we painted the ceiling this gold color, along with the windows and the front door trim. So it should look pretty nice once it's all done. Nice and bright and airy. We've got curtains on order. And so we'll put a curtain right across and back that way. So should be good once it's finished. And then the floor we'll paint just light blue again too. We probably just leave it gray, except for it's got some chipping and whatever else done on it, so might as well just paint it blue like the rest. Well, Tiffany's scraping the windows. She got the vestibule painted, the floors painted. We've got some furniture back in there. It looks pretty good.
I ordered curtains.
Wait, okay.
I ordered curtains. They should be here this week.
We'll go all the way around the front.
16 of them.
Around the sides.
Each window on inside too.
Then we got the top fence fastened on today. Just a bunch of little stuff, and then I built the, I guess, hearth for the, and moved the outdoor fireplace over here. And I just need to light it up on fire a couple of times to get everything rusted up. I don't know if I want it rusted or blackened, but one or the other. I have to take some opinions on that. But hopefully the grass will grow up around the front of it. Not this year, obviously, but it looks pretty good, I think. Oh, my body is beat to heck from doing this. My back of my knee is hurting.
You're still on, huh?
Yep. It was funny, I was laying on the roof. From laying on the roof, and it's from tucking my leg underneath me to stay on the roof, because you sit on your foot on a steep pitch, and it puts all the weight on your side of your edge of your shoe, so you can stay on a steep pitch while I was doing a bunch of detail stuff. But it should over the top.
Just don't want to stretch the hot.
Here, I'll help. 1, 2, 7. This is why we don't video while we're working.
Oh. Fine, just get out of the way. I'm gonna get angry.
That's great, because that usually means I don't have to help. She just handles it. But we were able to pull down the ladders today, which was finally a relief. And I think I'm out of time.
Chad's broke. You got different shoes on today.
Yeah, because the other ones are absolutely gone.
Your knee is so swelled on the inside.
Yeah, the back one is the one that's
It's
like on the back. The tendon.
This is supposed to be his good knee. This is the one that's always going out. And then he hurt his knee. This is like really
Watery.
swelled. Yeah, really swelled right here.
The back, I don't know what the back looks like, but that's where it's got damaged. Yes.
You can't really tell. Like, you can't see anything different. It just looks really swelled up here. So, what are you going to do today?
Sheetrock.
Sheetrock. How come?
A
Long
long story that we will explain in another video. And this has to do with us always, what would you say, helping people out?
Yeah.
And them always backstabbing you in the end. I don't understand people. If I was given opportunities the way
They take advantage of you.
The way we give people opportunities, I would have been ecstatic and would have been loyal to that person. There's no loyalty in this world, that's for sure. Anyway. I think that's a big palliated woodpecker right there.
Here.
You don't see it moving around?
No.
The branch that winds up to the left.
Which tree are we looking at?
The maple.
Which one's that?
What do you mean which one's that? The big maple.
The green one.
Yeah.
The branch. Oh, down here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking up in the tree. Got a red head.
Yeah. Huh, cool. Copper's gleaming pretty good today. Especially on that ridge over there. All right.
Ready to get to work?
Yeah.
We're doing sheetrock now. Just a little repair. We had to take all the old stuff out and... How are you doing? Chad's been able to stay off his knees for the most part today, which has been nice. He's just had to climb around on that, which isn't too bad for him. At least he hasn't complained, so maybe I'm wrong. How are you doing?
It's swollen, but...
Yeah, it's swelled out pretty good. Anyway, this is our last little bit to do for the day, I think. We're gonna quit and go have dinner.
So it's a nice, bright, sunny Sunday, and we've got it listed now. But I'm gonna finish the fence today. We're in the preliminary stages of listing, actually. I got the fence post driven in already. I just have to weld it up there. And then I'll unbolt it all and set the bottom spikes, which hold it level and firm. And set the end posts over here as well. I did find some globes for those fence posts, so hopefully those will be the same size. Those fence, or not fence posts, but light posts that are the exact same as this. And so hopefully I can find a globe that's similar, and we'll put one on each side of the driveway, I think is what the plan is. I still don't know what I'm going to do with the fence over there as coming around this back side, because if I do too close to the edge, well, then my plows are going to plow them in come winter time. So I've got to set it back at least a couple feet. So I'm not sure how or where I'm going to do that, or what I'm even supposed to do by code, really, given that we don't have a sidewalk on this side. But the sidewalk would be set back, there's no doubt about it. But maybe we are on no easement on this side, and they've actually paved part of the street where the sidewalk would be. I don't know. Anyway, I can measure from the other side, I guess, and of the property line, because we know it would be 100 feet. And then I'll be able to tell where I can put my line, my fence line. I just want to avoid plow damage. But it will run across from here over to these bricks, just like on the front, kind of. And then we'll run it up along here and put a gate in right here. So that's the plan anyway. Let's see what Tiffany's up to.